What up? What's going on, guys? I hope you see me. I don't know. Let me pull up my YouTube and make sure that I am live right now, or ask Jason if everything is good. But yeah, guys, I just want to do a Friday night analysis and watch the daily closing with y'all. Let's see what's going on. I need this. Need that. Let's see. Let me see. Okay. All right. If y'all see this stream, please give me a thumbs up, give me a comment. Yeah. No one's watching right now, so we are good. Okay. Trying to watch this daily close, guys. You know, it's like watching the fireworks, right? Let's see what we got here. Looks like new candle open below the previous one so far. Okay. This is interesting. Let's see what's going on here. I just want to make sure that everything is good, guys. I'm just checking up on my YouTube here. Okay. Awesome. Okay. It looks like we got a few people here, so I'm just going to get started. All right, and the rest of the stragglers can join in. So here's the thing, guys. You know, on the 1 hour chart, right? Just yesterday, I wrote this analysis in our Cryptosomniac group in Bitcoin analysis. If you haven't checked that out, basically, you know, what I was trying to say is that this large move right here, right, the one that we saw yesterday, okay, what exactly was this big pump about, right? And you know, like, what exactly does that mean to the pricing, and if we're going to start a new direction for Bitcoin? Well, in my opinion, I think you know, this is nothing but a little pump up by the whales to get some people trapped, and then, you know, have essentially the futures today be set up for, you know, another opportunity to short. Okay, because a new quarter starts now, because the quarterly futures ended for OKX, BitMEX, and CME, right? So new quarterly future starts, and now we get to see, you know, how the new round of futures will work. So how does, you know, this move impact you know, what happened to the futures that closed today, or how they're going to impact over the next few months? Well, let's see. This could be seen, right, as a beginning for the next bullish cycle. Okay, so, like, you know, future longs could be gearing up for a big bull run, correct? Or we could just essentially be set up for a bigger drop, right? Potentially maybe many more months of, you know, bearishness. I don't really know, but I'm leaning towards, you know, a little bit more bearishness. So let me elaborate on that, right? So there's two factors at work here. One, you know, remember I told y'all that I did a video about how I feel that there's collusion between the futures traders and bigger whales in the markets, and I pointed to the COT data. I also pointed to the fact that, you know, around when futures are expiring or new contracts are opening, we essentially see a turn in the market to the downside. So I'm going to talk about that some more today as well. We'll also be taking a look at some COT data, which is the commitment of traders data. That's essentially how you as the general public get to see which side futures traders are leaning on, longs or shorts, for any particular asset, whether it's Bitcoin or corn or oil, water, whatever, right? So anyway, going back to this, move right here. Okay, I don't know what's happening here. This is weird. Okay, so going back to this move right here, right? Essentially, I could see, a bunch of traders, right, taking spot buys and longs in this area, pushing the price up, and then, once the average retailer starts FOMOing into this area, the whales start selling their Bitcoin into the buy walls of the retailers. Okay, that is how a smart retailer or a smart whale trader would work. Okay, he would essentially try to drive up the price, create FOMO, and then start dumping at almost predictable levels, just like this one is, right? So this one is clearly a predictable resistance, and then after we hit that resistance, he or she or many people started selling, and now the price has dropped again, right? Now you can say that this is a healthy retrace, and then we're going to move up again. Okay, fair enough, right? But let me go back to my notes here. So when the price has reached this level, right, then I would argue that this is where, over the next few days, given the fact that we have a weekly and a monthly closing, I could say that, I could totally see this price dumping because we've again encountered a resistance at 6,800 and we've double topped, right? This is a top and this is a top, right? And I would expect at least a retest of the $6,500 resistance, or probably the bigger support levels back here, which is 6,384. Okay, so and then essentially this person who opened up all these shorts, he then gets to collect on the profit because he made a good amount of money up all the way up, and then he'll just start dumping his Bitcoin onto the market, right? And create a drop, essentially. Basically engineer a drop. And this way, as he dumps the Bitcoin, his short targets are met, people's stops are hit, and then he can just rebuy at the bottom again. And I told y'all a few days ago that there was a big buyer with like 1,000 or 5,000 Bitcoin, something like that, something ridiculously high, waiting at the 6120 level, right? And his order got filled, clearly, right? Because once you generate a little bit of FOMO and then the price starts dropping, that's essentially the average retail investor panicking. And the smart whale traders, they thrive on that, guys. They thrive on the psychology being exploited of the average retail investor. That's how they make their money. That's how they make their bread and butter, right? And this is why I always preach that, let's wait for bigger time frames to give us better signals to ensure that, hey, are we just FOMOing? Are we buying into the crowd that's kind of being, pulled into the I don't know, the shed to get shot, like cattle, or are we going to be the smart retailers that understand? Okay, you know what? Even if we don't have to buy the bottom, at least we know that we are essentially in the shift of a trend that is not a downtrend, right? Also, the price is now dumping a little bit here, so we just went from 6,600 that we were at and just touched 6,595. But anyway, so just something to keep in mind, guys. Don't be the average retail investor getting pulled into the barn like cattle, waiting to be shot. And that's kind of why I'm here to help you guys, right? You could argue the point that I am, bearish a lot, but I have good reason to be, right? The overall outlook of the market, right? If I were to just hide this chart, you could say that, okay, this is clearly on the weekly chart, right? This is clearly a market that's going down. And any child will tell you that, once we're moving like this on this direction up, we're moving up. But now that we've had, many months, 9 months, almost 10 now, right, of an entire downtrend being shown to us, it's pretty easy to say that, okay, we are in a downtrend. So, just doing my job to help make sure that, you guys don't make the same mistake that that the average retailer does, right? So, awesome. And also, just looking at this, this, movement, right? We had a an Elliott wave 5 count move. So basically, guys, Elliott waves, they're 5 wave moves, right? This is the impulsive structure right here, as you see, the blue, right? So here's wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Waves 2 and 4 are corrective structures. Waves 1, 3, and 5 are impulsive structures. Okay, so after wave 1, we had a nice little correction right here down to wave 2. Now, obviously, you can say that this is wave 2 as well, but I'm going to ignore this move just because it was garbage. Wave 3 is all the way up here to our first time at 6,800. Wave 4 is down here back to that 63.85 test. And now wave 5 should technically actually be higher than wave 3. So that's why I put it at the next resistance level, which is 69.24. So even if, let's just say, tomorrow we reverse out towards 69.24, I would say, you know what, I think we're still well within the bounds of the Elliott wave structure, as well as, not too far greatly exceeding this downtrend that we've been creating for many months, which is this dashed yellow line, which comes back all the way from March, okay? And you can see that on the daily chart, right? Coming back all the way here from March, touching this lower high of May, gutting through July, and then now essentially coming down here, okay? I know my charts are a little convoluted, so bear with me. But essentially, that's what I would say is, we can exceed that and still essentially come back down, okay? Just something to keep in mind, right? And then subsequent to that is a ABC corrective structure. I don't know why this is happening. ABC corrective structure, so that would be, A coming back down here to the retest of 64.66. It could also very well be back to 65.75. And actually, you can even make the argument that this could be the ABC structure, but then this count would be invalidated, right? This 5-wave structure, let's see. This 5-wave structure that we're seeing. I don't know why my price is locked. I can't do anything. Let me refresh this, guys. Give me 1 second. Yeah, whenever I turn on OBS, this is it's very slow. My entire let's see. Give me a second, guys. I'm still trying to figure this thing out. Okay, I think I got it. Yes, finally, I get to move my price scales. Awesome. Okay, so here's that 5-wave structure, right? So I'd have to redraw that 5-wave structure if this is the corrective count, right? And corrective counts can be ABCs or ABCDEs, okay? So anyway, so this is how I could see, the price playing out, right? But remember, as I told y'all that, let's see, on the monthly chart, right? I told y'all there's a story of threes drawing that I had. Let's see what we got here. Let's see. Bear with me. Okay, so here's that story of threes that I mentioned, okay? So, every 3 candles, these are monthly candles, by the way, after this high of 20,000, I told y'all that the candle 1 and 2 closes right above the previous first December candle, and then the third candle is a massive bearish candle, right, which significantly closes lower than the previous 2 and 1 candle. Okay, and then you have the 1 and 2 candle following this previous 3, right, and these ones again close higher than the previous 3, right, and then the subsequent third candle is closing right below the previous 3, right? So March close was 6928, June close was 6384. Okay, again, so now we have 1, 2, right? These two both close above this one, and now the third one, if we were to follow this pattern, this should be closing below 6384. Today is September 28th, so that means in the next 2 days, we should essentially be seeing if we're going trades and investments back into crypto, unless and you now understand why I was stating that the move that we had, right, for Bitcoin over the last 24 hours, why I personally thought it was just absolute garbage, was because it didn't make any sense, right? I mean, we pumped a little bit, but then we came back down, didn't really show any resilience of trying to break that 6,800 resistance level. So it just seemed like a big, essentially like a pump and dump, if you will, right? And now we're basically back almost to where we were yesterday, okay? So don't get caught up in the FOMO, guys. Being patient in a market like this will pay off heavily, and I promise you that. And I'm gonna do my best to ensure that people in our community don't lose money, right? And I'll do my best to make sure y'all do make money. Again, not with investment advice. But anyway, aside from that, just being able to look at a chart like this and see that, okay, you know what, this parallel channel was at least playing nicely for me, right? Excuse me. I saw a nice movement up, touched the top of the channel, touched the bottom of the channel, went back up, touched the top of the channel right here. Now I would have been okay with this move from here to here, nice and slow. But I think this was like one 15-minute candle, boom, right up there. Tried to exceed that channel, but then came back down, brought us back in it, right? And even if I extend this channel out, let's see if I do that. Where does that take us? Let's see. Yep. As you can see, we are literally floating on the bottom of the channel, the parallel channel right here, right? So I would expect this to at least come back down to this old resistance level that we had, and now it's probably turned support. So 65.75 is the area to watch. Okay. Awesome. Another thing that I wanted to talk about, guys, is I've signed up for a few bots in the past few months, because I believe that. So for example, if you're range trading like this, right? If you know that, okay, we've found at least a temporary bottom, if you set up a bot somewhere around this area, this time frame, right, September 25th. And you set it up for 1% gains or 1% losses, right? I mean, typically that's how this crypto hopper bot, and I've tried out this spot before too, 3 commas, and I like 3 commas a lot. But crypto hopper, in my opinion, is very easy to use. Well, a lot easier for the average investor. So if you want to take a look at Crypto Hopper, look, at my description below. You'll see a sign up link. It says Crypto Hopper Trading Bot, and just give it a shot, guys. It's nice to have 1%, 1.5%, 2% made overnight while you're sleeping. Especially, what I'll be doing, guys, is I'll set up this bot with y'all. And I will try to create my own bot, which you will also be able to use. And that's one thing I like about Crypto Hopper is I can set up a bot, and then you guys could use the same bot. So we'll essentially be in the same trade, even if it's overnight. And I kind of like that, So overnight, you're basically making money, and I don't know. I think that's kind of cool, right? So yeah, give it a shot. Sign up on the link below. And let's see, what else do I have? Let's do the weekly chart. Let's do this. Okay, so here's a chart that I drew up earlier today, right? And let me turn off this 200 moving average. I like watching the 200 moving average just because it always gives you a good, idea of like what's happening in like the big picture, where we are. We're under the price. I mean, clearly bearish. So here we go, right? So here's that large descending triangle, okay? So this is a multi-month, right? Starting all the way from March, right? And that's the black line, okay? And then I also see within that a pattern forming of a symmetrical triangle, okay? Now, as you guys know, I mean, I have been, somewhat bearish. So let me give you guys the bullish scenario, okay? The bullish scenario here is this. We have a bullish pattern forming inside, I believe, a larger bearish pattern. Okay, so here's the bullish pattern, which is the symmetrical triangle, which starts from the lows of June 24th, 2018, right? And the high of July 29th, around $8,500 or so, okay? Again, this line chart right here is made on the closings of the candle, so that's why it doesn't represent proper values, okay? So if it says 9,500 and 8,100, it's just because that's when the closings of the candles were, not the highs. So anyway, going back June, right? Low of around, let's just say 57, 5,800. Then over here in August, we created another low, but it's a higher low, right? Which is around 6,000. Then we created another higher low, which is around 6,100. Another higher low, right? Around 61. This little pattern right here is telling us we are creating higher lows, but we're also creating lower highs. So the price is tightening at least, okay? So like, we had this big, move like that, and like that, and then like that, and then like that. But now it could get tighter and tighter and tighter, and then it could just at least move. And I believe that it may move, to the outside of this descending triangle, which can be just as high as 7,000, 7,100 max. But still, that if that's true, then that falls right in line with our 5-wave EW principle, right? I told you guys that wave 5 must exceed wave 3. Let me pull that up real quick, okay? And then we can say that, okay, you know what? That might be the extent of wave 5. So then we can have our corrective wave structure. Let me zoom out a little bit here. I hate when it does that. Then we can have our, ABC corrective structure, right? A, B, C down here. And so that meets our, $6,900, maybe $7,000 target. So, that's kind of how I see if I were to look at it in a bullish way. Again, I lean a little bit more bearish, and I believe that, I think the closing of the monthly candle will definitely be something interesting to watch. Again, that's in 2 days. So I live in Texas, so that's Central Time for me at 7 p.m. And I don't know where exactly you guys are, but basically watch that closing. Okay, the end of the day, week, and month will all close for me at 7 p.m. Central on Sunday. Okay, so it's again, it's like watching fireworks, right? Either it's gonna be really awesome or really scary. So, all right, guys. That is pretty much it. I don't really have a whole lot. Again, if you want to try out this Crypto Hopper bot with me and you want to make some trades together, sign up for the link below in this video, and then we'll essentially be doing the trades together. I will let you guys know which bot I'm using, what exchange, how I'm going to program it, and yeah, we'll have a good amount of transparency in the channel. Okay, awesome. One more thing real quick, I love using tensor charts, and I know it takes a little bit more experience to be able to look at tensor charts. Essentially, these this map right here gives you an idea of where support and resistance levels are, where there's big blocks of buyers and sellers. And then over here you can just basically see the order book. Again, this is the BitMEX order book, so you can pick your different alts and different exchanges. Okay. So right now, as you can see, the biggest block right here I see is at 6,800. So someone or some people are essentially trying to hold the price down at 6,800, or that could just essentially mean that there's just a lot of sellers there, and that's really it. Okay. Now the bigger buyers, let's see where they are. Well, there's a big bunch of buyers at 8,500, and this is again in US dollar in millions. Okay, so 8.5 million buy block at 6,500, and 10.5 million at 6,800. Okay, just something to keep in mind. All right, guys, that's pretty much it. That's all I have. Currently, we are at 66.03. I do expect a retest of the 65.75 in the next few hours, so we will see how that goes. Let me see if the 4-hour chart shows anything special. Let's see, on the Ichimoku cloud. GD sequential 570. Which is, again, right at the level that I stated, right? 65.75 is exactly where my next support is. Look for this price to at least come back to that level, which matches up with the Ichimoku cloud. And in terms of TD, we are printing a 5 of 9 on the red, and the 5 is below the 4. So I still think in the shorter term we are looking bearish, and we might essentially keep going down for at least the next 3.5 hours as this candle continues to be molded. Okay. All right. If y'all have any more questions, yeah, meet me in the Moon Lounge. All right. Take care, y'all.